I got hospitalized a couple years ago, and while in the hospital bed, I realized that I didn't have a single person to say anything about. Like, I didn't have somebody caring that I was in the hospital. This one is gonna be a little bit of a vulnerable one, guys, so bear with me. I might stumble over my words. About 2 years ago now is when I went through a really like dark time mentally. I'm mostly fine now. You don't have to worry about me. But there was one person in particular that helped me get through this very dark time in my life, and that was one of my friends. We were best friends. Whoa, I just dropped my pickaxe. That's not even my pickaxe. That's my axe. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, what I was saying, this friend, she helped me get through a very like difficult time in my life, and I might say it's platonic. You know, those people that you can just be around comfortably. I don't come across people like that very often. Um, I'm kind of a very closed and insular person in real life. Like, aside from YouTube, I don't really do much talking. Like, by the end of the day, if I haven't recorded like a video or anything, and I'm like trying to talk or something, I'll open my mouth and my jaw is so sore from being closed all day. I don't think it's very healthy. Um, I have jaw clenching problems, I guess. But this person was one of the first real friends I made after a medical incident a couple years ago. Um, and it was, I don't know how to describe it. I may have used that friendship as sort of a crutch for never addressing some of my underlying mental health issues. But at the same time, um, tell someone with broken legs not to use a crutch. You know what I mean? It's like, sure, you can overly depend on it. And then when those crutches are taken away, you don't know what to do. That's kind of exactly what happened to me about a year ago now. I'm trying to speak about this very vaguely without like revealing much personal information because it's just the internet, you know. I'm trying to balance the line between telling a story and speaking emotionally about things and also like, you know, having some sort of separation between real life and the life that I lead on the internet. Anyways, what I was saying, um, about a year ago now is when I lost her, and thankfully enough, she's still alive. But I don't entirely understand what happened. Um, and maybe that's just like a guy thing. And you guys can think, oh my gosh, you know, uh, you guys weren't platonic friends or like whatever. No, we were platonic friends. I usually don't swing that way, anyways. But about a year ago now, she cut contact with me. I don't entirely know why, and that sent me into a spiral. A pretty unhealthy spiral, actually. Um, and it's been something that I've like been recovering from ever since. And I feel like it's something that we don't talk about enough because you get people that you know, they talk about like breakups and whatnot, but nobody ever talks about like losing your best friend. Actually, maybe people do talk about it, but like you know, maybe people too. Well, guys, I can't speak. Uh, I'm recording this kind of impulsively just because I felt like talking about it. And I realize I keep dancing around the subject, but like, who wouldn't? Um, anyways, I don't talk to her anymore, which is sad. It's a sad thing. To like have a friend that's your best friend. And then I'm assuming what was a lack of communication just permanently decayed the friendship. Like, I can't think about it too much about, whose fault it was or whatever, because, like, that's unhealthy for me to ruminate on that. It's just kind of sad that it happened. And I do realize I'm rambling a bit, but I hope that's a little bit endearing. I don't know why there's like an odd mix of personal topics and also like me just playing Minecraft on this channel, but I'm here for it. What I was saying. Oh, it has. What has what has happened is that it feels like there's a a thing, a system in my brain that used to work, but has now broken. Like, because that friendship is gone, that was the inciting incident for something in my head just snapping, and I'm even more like socially inept now. Like, I can go for days not talking to another person, which, like, that sounds unhealthy, and it like definitely is, but I don't know. I think it's fine. Um, and by not talking to another person, I mean like other person outside of my family. Like, I don't know. I played Battleship with my mom the other day. She's the goat. Also, if anybody has like experienced anxiety that gets to the point where you have to be prescribed like what is anti-nausea medication because you feel like throwing up all the time. Uh, you and me were the same. If that's ever happened to you, boy, do I know how that feels. Um, but I've also realized that there have been like other friendships that I have made over the years that, I mean, like none were as cornerstone in my life as this specific one with my best friend. But they still have just decayed, and I wonder, like, is that something that needs to be fixed? Like, I don't know. Like, is this something that I need to work on? Like, maintaining my relationship with people around me? Because I'm really bad at it, guys. Like, I can do one-off conversations. I'm a big fan of small talk. Like, my favorite kind of talk is just talking about. Actually, okay, sorry, no, I'm not a big. Well, I am a big fan of small talk, but I'm really. What it really is that I'm also a big fan of like big talk. Like, if I can start talking about like morality, huge fan of conversations like that. Or just like politics and ethics and whatnot. Oh, I placed that block instead of going one higher. I just placed it to my side. That's sad. Um, Also, I'm realizing I'm gonna need a new axe. I'm just gathering some wood, just to gather wood, I guess. Um, I do want to just chop this lone tree here. So what I was talking about, like losing friends and whatnot, is that it's a gruesome process that I feel like just isn't represented very well, if that makes sense. Um, it's easily one of the most painful things that I've gone through, and like I haven't been able to talk about it necessarily. Like, sure, I've talked about it in therapy, but in therapy, I don't go to sessions very often, but that's a whole nother topic. In therapy is different than like confiding in other friends. Like, some of my other really good friends, I couldn't talk to them about it because, like, you don't want to talk bad about another person. So you're kind of like immobilized in saying anything because they're still an amazing and wonderful person who you hope goes on to do good things with their life. Because it's like, how can you go from being someone who is confiding and confides with very, very heavy topics with another person and, just is a very extremely good friend? How can you go from that to just never talking again? Like I think that's what confused me from the beginning. I don't know. It took a while for me to stop like bugging myself with who was in the right or wrong. Also, we're gonna have to finish this pig farm. Um, if you don't know what's happening here, don't worry about it, guys. Um, this is kind of incoherent ranting, but sometimes I do feel like people presenting themselves as coherent is a little bit of a lie. I don't know. I feel like we as humans trip and stumble over our words, and that's what makes us human. I don't know if I have much more else to say because this was a very unstructured rant. Oh, um, so the medical incident I was talking about, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is just an autoimmune disease where your body starts attacking itself, and ultimately your pancreatic beta cells are destroyed, which those are the cells that produce insulin, and insulin is part of like your metabolic homeostasis loop where um, your pancreas secretes insulin in response to elevated blood sugars, and so it brings down your blood sugar. And when someone doesn't have any ability to produce insulin, their blood sugar stays high and they die, pretty much. Like 100 years ago, type 1 diabetes was a death sentence. So I got hospitalized. Nothing bad, guys. It was like preventative. I had blood work done for something completely unrelated. I got hospitalized a couple years ago, and while in the hospital bed, I realized that I didn't have a single person to say anything about. Like, I didn't have somebody caring that I was in the hospital, if that makes sense. That's a hard realization to come to, especially when you're already emotionally distraught. But that's when I decided that I would make real friends instead of just random people on the internet, because that's who I talked to at the time. And the best friend I was talking about is one of the people who actively tried to become friends with me, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't something that I initially put effort into, which was really foreign to me. But we became good friends, and I became good friends with a few other people as well. And that was really fun, those times. And now I don't know, I don't have a very nice brain. Like, if we're talking about in terms of like, I don't know where I was going with that. You know how I was saying that my pancreas, like, my immune cells attacked my pancreas, so like my body was attacking itself. sometimes that's what it feels like my brain does, where my brain is actively working against itself. Um, so it's really hard for me to like, I don't know, think about some things. That's funny. I can't remember if it was removed by the time this version exists, but for slime splitting, there used to be such a thing as like overflow damage. So if you did enough damage, then they wouldn't split. But I don't know if that's a thing. You can check our slime platform. Heck yeah, dude. Um, I don't have much else to say. I'm really quite bad at some of these rambling videos. Oh, another thing is like, oh no, I didn't have another thing. I spent a lot of time, like, after I realized that we wouldn't, well, that she wasn't talking to me anymore. And I gotta remind you guys again, platonic. Um, spent a lot of time, like, ruminating and trying to figure out if it was my fault or not. Also, I, how are there so many slime chunks down here? Like, it's hard not to kill all of the slimes that I see. I had to start journaling. Never been a big journaler before. I had to start journaling to cope with that. And you like, you know, it's bad when you have to pick up a new mental health practice just to like stay sane for a little bit. And I'm fine now, which is why I'm able to talk about it. Like, I don't know, especially when I went for actually really most of my life without any real friends. Then it's especially sad when you lose your realist friend, and it's kind of made me become more reclusive. Well, there's not much more for me else to say. Is that even how the sentence structure works? I don't know. There's not much more for me to say unless I start pivoting into talking about like society and how we live in a society that is created for a box surrounding the averages of the 90% majority. So then you have buildings and like schools created without any disability access. Or you have schools. I was trying to pivot into schools, but I already said disability access in buildings. I don't know. You have school structures that are put in place for people who can take tests, which is not everybody. It's school benefits the neurotypical and kind of ostracizes any form of neurodivergency. And I think that's dumb, but that, guys, that got so off topic. I have a lot of things that are in my head, and I was actually just, I'll pull up the comment real quick. 730M4 said, "This feels the same as when I'm just existing with the narrator in my head yapping about the most random things." And that's kind of how my internal monologue works as well. Like, I literally just go on random tangents inside my head. It's a wonderful place. But I am going to end it here. If you're watching this, thanks. I would say I don't expect people to watch it, but some people do end up watching it. So if you're one of those, you're a real one. So